Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice. Simple steps for showing up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host. I am excited to be with you today. I'm so grateful to be in front of this camera, in front of this mic. You really think about the technology, the availability, what we have in store for us today is immaculate. Even going back 15 years ago, this wasn't a thing. At least not to this degree. So much knowledge is available on platforms just like the one you're listening on, with so much information for free. How much of it are you accessing? How much are you digesting, bringing in, and utilizing for your benefit? I was asked the other day what podcasts I listen to. And I only listen to a few, but those few consume somewhere in the, 8 or 9 hours a week, which is enough for me. There's tons of series out there that are amazing, but I pretty much have honed in on just the mindset, personal growth, entrepreneurship ones. And yes, I listen to my own, which is super fun. Never really thought I'd listen to my own podcasts, but I learn a ton from them because I record them about 2 months in advance. And how cool that is. And I get to relive the experiences that I talk about. And then so often I answer questions that I have 2 months from now on my own podcast. So it's cool. Not to mention it gives me a download, right? So I get to listen, help my little show grow. But what I want to talk about today is an experience I had just a couple days ago. So I've changed up my food, what I'm eating. I would say my diet, but I'm not really changing my diet. I'm changing my meal plan. It's probably the better way of putting it. And I've went from 2 days of riding my bicycle to 3 days of riding my bicycle. I want to lean down, cut down. I was originally a certain weight. I was 215, and I wanted to gain size. I wanted to get bigger. So I set the plan and I executed the plan. Where you focus, you find, right? Your thoughts lead to actions. And your actions lead to opportunities. So how cool is that? Man, I got something in my eye. I'm trying to take it out of my eye. Holy crap. Man, sidetracked. And then I got up to 230 by eating a certain way. And it took me about 4.5 months to get there, trying to do it very meticulously. And then I've changed up my food plan. And now we're leaning back down. I've been 215. I've been 230. I prefer the 210, 215 route. I'm a little smaller. But here's the thing. Where I was at 215, I wanted to be bigger. When I was at 230, I wanted to be smaller. How often do you find yourself wanting that which you don't have because you're ungrateful for that which you currently have? Interesting. Think about that. A little side tangent. Either way, I'm now cycling 3 days a week. So I decided to go out on a loop that I do very often. I do 2 different routes. And this loop is 17 miles exactly. Traditionally, my best time is about 1 hour and 3 minutes. And it's got a lot of hills. It's about 800 feet of climbing. So not a ton, but it's enough that you're worn out pretty good. And when I set out, I really didn't set out to set any records. I didn't set out to really attack the trail, but I did set out to give it my best. And when I first started going, normally when I'm on flats, I am cruising. When I'm going down hills, I'm coasting and or pedaling, but not with urgency. And when I'm climbing, I'm spinning, sometimes attacking, but mostly spinning to give myself a rest, so to speak, while going up the hill, but to prolong my energy usage. You got to be pretty strategic. You don't want to blow all your energy reserves early on in a ride. You want to save some for the end, but you want to have a good cadence to which you have a good speed and a good time. So I was spinning at a faster clip. I was 1 gear up from what I normally am when I was going down hills. I was pushing it on the downhills. I was cruising / pushing on the flats, and I was attacking almost every hill. When you take that concept of going from what I was doing, which is more cruising, coasting, and sometimes attacking, to being more aggressive, actively spinning at a higher gear, and then attacking pretty much every hill, you get a significantly different time over the duration. So it's not like I sprinted at the very end trying to make up time. I didn't sprint at the very beginning and blow all of my energy use stores early on. I had parsed out energy for certain spaces, allowed myself to really push the hills and then take advantage of the downhill and then have a good pace across the flats. I got to a spot in the track where I'm normally hitting it at about 17 minutes and 30 seconds. And I hit that spot with 15 minutes and 30 seconds. I was 2 minutes ahead. I thought, surely I'm not a full 2 minutes ahead of my normal time this early on. I get to another spot. I'm typically there about 22 minutes. I was there at 20 minutes. I said, oh my goodness, I am actually ahead. So maybe I can hit 1 hour, 1 minute. I'm 2 minutes ahead of schedule, 2 spots in a row. Maybe I can be an hour, 1 minute instead of an hour, 3 minutes. And then I cruise forward, go down a hill. And it's a spot that I normally hit at 30 minutes. And I was at 28 minutes. So I maintained that 2 minute increase. I said, this is awesome. I'm going to get a new personal record on this route. I'm going to get it done in an hour 1 instead of an hour 3. Previously to all this, it was more like an hour 6. So starting to increase the pace, right? As I was heading home from that point in time, that 30-minute time, so about halfway, that's where most of my hills really start. So instead of spinning up the hills, I was attacked each hill with urgency. And then I got to a spot in the track where I am typically 9 minutes away from home. So I'm typically hitting that thing at about 54 minutes. And I hit it at 48. I said, oh, I am significantly ahead of time now. Let's attack this last hill, which is the biggest hill in the holding. A good chunk of that 800 feet is climbed. It's probably about half of that altitude. So 400 feet of elevation gain in that last hill. It's the biggest one. It's the final hill to my house. And I sprinted. I attacked. And I ended up hitting my driveway at 58 minutes and 30 seconds exactly. So I beat my time by a full, basically 5 minutes. And this is what I really want to talk about. Are you spinning versus attacking? From an onlooker, somebody that does not really know cycling, you look pretty much the same. You're bent over, hands on the handlebars, and you're spinning away. And you're spinning at a pretty fast clip. But internally, they are very, very different. And if you know what to look for, it's significantly different. Your hands are gripped significantly tighter, and your whole body is flexed when you're attacking. So on that last hill, that last 400 feet or so of elevation gain, within about 50 feet of riding that distance, which is a couple of miles left, about a mile and a half left or so, I lost complete feeling in my hands and my feet. All the blood rushed to my heart, my lungs, and my quads. Normally, I would sit back and shake my hands off because I just can't stand that feeling. But I decided to double down. I decided to really grip the handlebars and wrap my fingers in a way that they kind of locked themselves in. That way, when I pulled, and when you're attacking, you're pedaling so hard that the front of the bike starts to lift up sometimes if you're not careful, if you don't have your weight farther forward. This is unsustainable energy. Attacking full time, you can't sustain that. But when strategically placed, you can gain immense amount of time on trail. In life, are you merely spinning, which would be just checking the boxes, getting it done, but getting it done with significant efficiency versus just coasting? Because I can relax on the ride and it'll take me an hour and a half. Or I can coast and it'll take me an hour 15. I can spin and it'll take me an hour 6. Or I can spin, attack, and be highly efficient. It takes me 58 minutes and 30 seconds. I now know I can break 58 minutes in time. Could I do that today? No, absolutely not. Conditions were perfect for that to take place. And beyond that, my body isn't there yet. You have to become stronger. You have to know with exactness when to attack, when to spin, and when to coast. There are specific time frames at specific locations. And you can know this even on tracks you've never been on. You just have to intrinsically understand where your energy is at. So you must really know yourself. Let's correlate this a little bit to your life, to business, to your mindset, to this glass ceiling that you're stuck at. How often are you merely checking a box? Are you coasting? Are you relaxing? How often are you spinning? So you're still moving with great efficiency. And how often are you attacking? And are you attacking too often? So you burn yourself out. That's another thing. Because if you attack constantly, you will burn out and you won't even finish, or you'll cramp up and lock up and have great difficulty getting home. There is a time and a place when to give it your all and to show up, and when to spin with great efficiency. There is a time and a place to give it everything. But if you give it everything all the time, there are things that are losing. No amount of success in business is worth losing your home. Ever. It's not, no amount of success is worth losing your home. I have several friends that are divorced now because they put everything into their business and they lost their home. Their spouse divorced them. Their kids don't want to be around them because they never spent time with them. On the flip side, if you spend too much time at home and with your kids and not enough in business, well, the business will fail. So I'm going to loosely use the term balance. It's not actually a balance. It's energy application. And where you place that energy, you will grow. I don't spend every waking moment with my family. I mean, I'm here with you right now. I was at the gun range today at an event. I was on the phone calls. I was doing things. But in between, I'm peppered with my family. It's where you show up and how present you are while you're there that really makes the grand difference. How are you showing up? How are you actively involved? Are you going to your kids' sporting events? I left my career so I could do that. And I'm grateful to say that to this day, I haven't missed one. In fact, I was just the head coach this last season for flag football. It is something that I cherish. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that. Everybody has that opportunity. That's the thing. I too was in an industry where I thought, there's nothing I can do. I'm stuck here, until I decided to leave. I too worked 16, 18, 20 hours in a day and thought, this is the rest of my life, until I decided to leave, until I made a decision. And you figure it out along the way. As I've said before, God's rope begins when your rope ends. You've got to get past the end of your rope. And it's at that point you find beauty. You find magic. You have it in you to get everything you've ever dreamed of and more. You got to simply step out and do it. And you've got to strategically place your energy at the right time. It's never wise to coast all the time. It's never wise to spin all the time. And it's never wise to attack all the time. Knowing when and where to place your energy matters. That is what I have for you. That is what I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much for sharing these episodes. It means everything. This show would not exist if you didn't share it. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that you listened and spent time with me and had this conversation. So have this conversation with your friends and your family. Talk to them, learn, grow, build, create. We, in turn, as humans, are creators. You can find me on socials, Mr. Brad Draper. Please leave me a review on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the places you can find this thing. like this thing, subscribe to it to download it for future listenings. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.